Hey guys, welcome to another day in Omaya Cook Summer Cooking Class 2025. Today we're going to be making yam toasters. I would rate the level of difficulty of this particular meal to be beginner friendly, right? It's something you can pull up so quickly and so easily. So we're going to be using this beef stir fry. Who remembers this beef stir fry? So if you used everything up, I hope you didn't. Keep some aside, guys, so you can use that in making this recipe. Otherwise, feel free to make a new batch once again. And here we have yam that has been peeled and chopped into cube sizes. Okay, if you don't know how to peel your yam, please let me know and I can show you a quick video on how to do that. Next, we're going to be needing eggs in this recipe. This recipe is so easy. It's something that can go for brunch, for breakfast, and even light dinner really. And then you have chopped onions, and I'm also going to be using spring onions in this recipe. And next, we're also going to be using some red bell peppers. Feel free to replace with attaché, okay? This is just to add fresh flavor into what we're making. We have vegetable oil here. You can also replace that with your flavored oil. And we're going to be using our chili oil. Remember our prawn chili oil that we made with palm oil? Yes, this is going to make a feature in this recipe. So basically, things that you have in your kitchen and just a few more things is what make up this meal. The first thing you want to do is to boil your yam. So you want to get your pot with a little bit of water in it, and then you're going to place the chopped yam. Remember the yam that we cut into cubes, okay? That is going to be going into our pot very quickly. And the beautiful thing about this recipe is that you can replace yam with potatoes, both Irish potato or even your sweet potato. It's going to work so well, okay? I added some salt to that water, and I'm also going to be adding a little bit of sugar. I'm using particularly old yam for this recipe, and that's why I'm adding that, just so it can be a little bit more sweet. There are a couple of people who use sugar in boiling their yam, so it is not a taboo. It is actually there's a science to it, okay? But if you're not comfortable with that, feel free to use only salt for your yam, okay? We're going to boil this for about 15 minutes and it should get soft. Cutting the yam into smaller sizes is going to allow it to cook faster than if you had cut it into bigger slices. So in 15 minutes, we'll check and see what it looks like. Now this is after 15 minutes. I'm just going to take that out just so you can see what it looks like. And what you want to get is your baking tray, okay? This is a baking pan I have here on my table. I'm going to put in the boiled yams. You want to know that it's fully cooked when you can put in your fork and it just goes through it so easily, or a skewer. That way you can tell that the yam is really soft. I want it fully cooked and soft for this next step, okay? Remember that if you're going to be using a substitute, which is using potatoes, or you're using Irish or sweet potatoes, it's going to take a lesser cooking time depending on what you're cooking. So you just want to monitor it and make sure that it's soft before you take it out of that water. And then I'm going to drizzle a bit of flavored oil all over. The idea of what I'm doing is I want to lightly toast this in an oven. So if you don't have an oven or an air fryer, okay, what you can do is just to lightly fry it, just small, right? Just to have a bit of crunch on the body. So I don't mind that I'm stacking everything together. It's because I just want it to be lightly toasted. So here I'm just showing you how soft it is. That's exactly how soft you want that yam. So this goes into my air fryer, and then we'll go on to the next step. Now you want to get a clean bowl. What you're going to do now is to crack a few eggs, okay? The whole idea of cracking the eggs is going to serve as a binder for what we're making. I'm switching the quantity of yam. I'm going to be cracking about 7 eggs, and now I'm adding some diced onions into this. If you don't like seeing onions in your meal, right, you can just blend that into a puree and that works. And now I'm also going to add some freshly diced bell peppers, using red bell peppers. If you have all the colors, that's even going to be more colorful and flavorful. But again, it depends on what you want. Next, I'm adding some grated ginger into that. You can also blend that into a puree that equally works, okay? About half a tablespoon for this quantity of eggs, it's fine. And guess what's going in now? Our chili flakes. So you have that prawn chili oil go in. We're not using so much of it, just a little, but the difference is going to be so clear. And now the diced spring onions is going to go in, a little bit of seasoning cube, right? I'm using chicken seasoning cube here. And then you're going to whisk everything together. The vibrant color that the chili oil gives this egg is just so good. You have it looking so bright yellow. It is just so beautiful, and the aroma already from that, you have that prawn from the chili oil, you have the palm oil, just a little bit of that, and then the chili flakes. This is just such a beauty to look at. So once it is properly mixed, you're going to set this aside and we're going to continue what we're making. Now I'm just going to get a bigger baking pan because it's time to properly assemble this together. Now I have the toasted yam. Notice how it is just mildly brown brown, right? It is not overly brown because you still want to retain the softness of the yam, which is why you boiled it in the first place, okay? Otherwise, you could have just gone ahead to just air fry and you have the yam being tough, okay? Right? And there's a way to achieve soft yam using just air fryer, even if you didn't boil it. But that's a learning for another day. So now you want to make sure that it is not overly dry, which is why I just make sure that I just air fried it for a few minutes. Some parts of it are just a bit brown, and that's good to go. Notice how it's still steaming, piping hot. So you want to make sure that the yams are kind of layered on the pan, like each yam is not on top of each other, okay? So you notice that I'm trying to have all of them have room size and floor size. Make sure they're all hitting the pan. And the next thing you want to do now is to pour that sweet egg all over. Make sure it goes all over, guys. If you realize that you don't probably have enough egg, you may want to add a bit more because that is literally going to serve as a binder. Imagine you're making a frittata. This is a variation of that, so that's the idea of what we're doing here. Okay, you want to make sure that the eggs go around the pan. As you can see here, this is just a perfect measurement for it, right? And now our beef stir fry is going to make a very lovely appearance. Now imagine the flavors from that beef stir fry, right? Just layer that all over this guy. It's also going to get stuck right with the egg mix, so it's going to also bake with that. This is so good. Now I know your question, if I don't have an oven or if I don't have an air fryer, can I make this meal? The answer is a big solid yes. All you need is a non-stick pan on low heat. Replicate the same thing we're doing here, but what you're not going to do is you're going to cover that up and cook on extremely low heat so it can kick up and bake as you would do in an oven. Okay, and for the oven, you wouldn't have to flip this guy because you have heat coming from the bottom and the top. But if you're doing this in a pan, you would have to flip just so that you can get it evenly browned and well cooked. Okay, now just because I love to be extra, I added a little more red bell peppers, and now I'm adding some of that chili. Right now, I'm not adding just the oil, I'm adding that crunchy chili flakes from the prawn chili oil, and that is just going to add another level of flavor to this. This looks really good. I'm now going to take this out, put it in my air fryer or my oven to bake at 180 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes. Who's ready for the grand reveal? And guys, this is what we have. This is precisely what it should look like. Nothing should burn, hence 180 degrees Celsius. You don't want to increase that heat so it doesn't burn or brown. Especially remember that our beef has already been cooked. So the only thing we're trying to cook here is to have the eggs firm up and then serve as a binder for the yam and every other thing you've added in it. Your skewer goes in, comes out dry. That shows you that it's well cooked. If it comes out still wet, it means that the eggs are not fully cooked yet and you don't want to take that out of the oven just yet. And now for the true test, which is going to show us that everything is well binded together. I'm just going to take out that tray and lift it out using my baking sheet, and just look at that, guys. I'm also going to take out that baking sheet because I want this to look pretty on its own, and for you to also see that everything just comes off so easily. It should hold up like this, almost looking like a square baked pizza. And guys, this is what it looks like. Now let's make our spices so we can call this our yam toasties. Just for emphasis, look at how beautiful this looks. Okay? Now you want to get out your knife. You can also use your serrated knife, the one you're using making bread slices. That also works. And just begin to cut it like this. Again, notice how everything just holds up. This is what you want to get, okay? The first thing I want to do is to cut it into 2 equal halves and then cut it into squares. You can cut them into smaller squares if you prefer, but this is just the way I would like to present it, and which is why I was calling it yam toasties, because the whole idea of this meal is giving you the idea of a sandwich but using an entirely different vessel to convey that message. So usually for your sandwich, right, you're going to have your bread, you have your eggs. So I'm just using some of the elements you'll find in your regular sandwich and then replacing that with yam, which equally works so well. And that yam doesn't have to always be heavy. It can also be light depending on how it is made, okay? Did you notice what that cross section looks like? It looked so good. I mean, imagine presenting this and saying this is what we're having for breakfast, especially if you have an air fryer or oven, or even if you do this on a pan. It's so quick and easy, right? That when you present, if you cannot believe that you just presented yam in an entirely different way, or even your potatoes. This is one of the ultimate breakfasts that I think you can present this summer or even all year long, okay? I'm adding some pepper sauce, okay, just to make it look really nice and just add a bit more flavor to that. But otherwise, by itself, it is standalone good dish. I'm adding a lot of garnish, which is just your dried parsley, just to add more colors. Even though it's already super colorful itself, And guys, this is what we have. Your yam toasties are ready. They look so good. They look amazing and it tastes absolutely delicious. Try this out and let me know what you think. See you in my next video. Bye.